We are officially in the month of October, so you know what that means? It is time to stop and rank all 9 films that I saw in September, from the worst to the best. Hey there, my name is Caleb, and I love diving just a little bit deeper into our favorite TV shows and movies. If you can relate, join me down in the comments below and let me know what September releases you got to see. I think it was a okay month for movies and TV shows. I wouldn't call it anything spectacular, but that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to rank all of them. I saw 9 films this month, so right before we dive into that, if you are new here, consider joining us here by subscribing, letting me know that you enjoy the content that we put out here. I would be much appreciated, and we'd love to have you stay. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Coming in at number 9, we have Spy Kids Armageddon, which I was curious about from the start, and I knew I was definitely going to end up watching at some point this month. And when I finally did, I was nothing short of bored and disappointed. But I was not surprised that I was. The Spy Kids movies have progressively gotten worse the more that they've gone along, in my personal opinion. And the original trilogy was the best. They were some of the best Spy Kids movies and some of the only Spy Kids movies. The ones that they did after that, the Spy Kids 4 was alright, and then this one just takes the cake for boredom and totally missing the point of Spy Kids. It just really fell flat in almost every way for me. There was a lot of moments between the youngest little girl here where she really didn't have an arc at all. She was just like, she's right and she knows it kind of thing. And I don't know, it just kind of made the movie a little bit bland for me. A lot of the lines just felt boring. And they do this thing where they make it about like a video game guy, and that just made it feel like a really cheap knockoff that you would find at the dollar store, and not like a Spy Kids movie. For me, the Spy Kids movies have always been cool, and they didn't always have to explain everything. The original was cool because it catered to kids. It was ridiculous, sure. It was very ridiculous, but it was better than what I just watched. So Spy Kids Armageddon easily comes in as my least favorite. Coming in at number 8, we have the Paw Patrol The Mighty movie. I went into this thinking, wow, you know, am I really going into theaters to see a Paw Patrol movie? Absolutely I am. And to my surprise, it really is not that bad. If you're a kid and you like Paw Patrol, this movie's for you. It has those typical, like, kind of tropes that you would see in a superhero movie. Although I will say it does land a few, dare I say, emotional punches with Sky and just her little arc that she goes on in this movie. I do have a sweet spot for superheroes and superpowers, so this movie definitely caught my eye with that. Overall, if you're looking for a fun film to take your kids to, this would definitely be it. At number 7, I have It Lives Inside. This was a movie that I really wasn't sure if I was gonna end up seeing this month. I just was able to, but I enjoyed myself with this one. It doesn't really stand out all that much. It's essentially about a girl who, of Hindi culture, and some kind of Hinduism monster comes after her. And it's invisible, and while the movie plays it up to be this very scary monster, what happens in the end just feels like almost like a knockoff version of the Invisible Man, the new Invisible Man. And I talked about that in my review, which if you want to see, I'll probably leave here somewhere. But it just really falls flat for me in the very end. But the rest of the movie is actually not too bad. Coming in at number 6, I have The Equalizer 3. This was a movie that I was actually pretty excited for when it was first announced, and I was like, wow, I'm probably really going to enjoy this movie. And then it came out, and I was on board the entire movie. I was really into what they were doing. And there's a moment in this movie where they set up this huge thing where it's gonna, like, they're in the street and he's like, tomorrow we finish this. And then Denzel just goes to their house and murders all of them. And the sad part is that it doesn't feel like there's any struggle between our two main characters, our antagonist and our protagonist. At the very end, there's almost no struggle. And I know that it's Denzel Washington as the Equalizer. I get that. But in the end, there's always been some kind of struggle for Denzel Washington, and in this movie, it's just not there pretty much at all. For me, that was a little annoying. That was a little annoying because I would have really liked to see something like that play out. You know, you want to see your main character struggle because that makes his efforts more worthwhile. So that's why it comes in at this place for me. At number 5, I have The Nun 2. The original Nun was honestly one of my least favorite horror movies of all time. I just don't think it delivers that much. I think the premise is neat, but it does not translate well, should I say. When I went into this movie, I was like, oh, how am I gonna feel about this one? This one offers a little bit more in terms of structure, plot, and just the overall general what's going to go down. I enjoyed a lot more of the like really cool shots that they set up in this movie, but there are a few things where I'm like, all right, let's move it along a little bit, because there's some points that it just gets a little repetitive. Overall, it's a fine movie. It doesn't really do anything crazy. It's just kind of there, and it knows its place. At number 4, I have The Expendables 4. This is a movie that I saw got a lot of hate this month, and then after I put my review out for it, everyone was like, okay, it's not as bad as we said it was. And I was like, wow, you know, how about that? And I quite actually enjoyed myself with this movie. I don't take these kinds of movies that seriously, and I understand that not every movie has to be some kind of ultimate theater cinema experience. This is just a movie with Jason Statham, Megan Fox, and Sylvester Stallone killing a bunch of guys on a ship. And it's fun. It's fun to watch these people interact. And yes, it's essentially big Hollywood movie stars act together the movie. And you know what? I enjoy myself with it. I had a good time. It's like a mindless cinema watch. And if you're into that kind of stuff once in a while, give this a watch. But in number 3, I have A Haunting in Venice. This is a movie where my opinions on it actually changed a lot throughout the month. As the month comes to a close, I definitely feel comfortable with it sitting here at my number 3. I wasn't sure about this movie at first. The title alone kind of made me like, whoa, like, why are we calling it A Haunting in Venice? And I absolutely understand the idea, but the title of the movie makes it seem like it's not a murder mystery movie when it absolutely is. It makes it seem like it's like a movie similar to like The Conjuring or some new like ghost story. And it's really not. It's really more of a murder mystery movie. And I wish a lot of people knew that going in, but overall the movie does a good job at just doing what it's trying to do. I think a lot of the shots were interesting in this movie, and I just think that overall it wasn't too bad and definitely was a little bit better than my expectations were hoping for. So if you guys are into murder mysteries and you're looking for a new one to check out, definitely check out A Haunting in Venice. As my runner-up, I have Saw X. As somebody who definitely has watched these Saw movies over the years, and I will tell you that maybe plot-wise they are not the best. This is definitely, if not one of my favorite Saw movies of all time. It perfectly nails what we want to know about John Kramer and that he's human. But it also nails those sides of him that, you know, are less desirable. Not only that, but we get to see his point of view, like making the traps. It's almost like in this movie, you're not scared for anybody. You know how in the other movies you get kind of scared for the people because you really don't, you have this sense of like, you really don't know what's going on. Well, we really get to like, it's John Kramer's point of view here. And that's something that I really appreciated in this movie. I thought that that was it just kind of made the movie feel a little bit more complete and just more well-rounded, if that makes sense. But easily coming in at number 1 for me is The Creator. I was anticipating this movie. This is one of my top 5 most anticipated for the rest of the year. And after seeing it, I can definitely say that it pretty much met my expectations. I wouldn't say that it went higher, but it pretty much met my expectations for what I was expecting from this movie. Every time I look at this movie, I have to just like pause and just look at the actual nice CGI that they use in this movie. And the fact that it's not part of a franchise really stands out to me because it backs itself up. It doesn't have like early success from a lot of these other movies. The only thing I would say that it maybe backs on is the fact that they talk about how the director from Rogue One made this, but this is its own movie. It has nothing to do with Star Wars. So I think that we definitely need more movies like this, and I really hope that this does well at the box office so that we can get more movies like this. Although I will say, I don't want a sequel, I just want to see more original sci-fi films, if that makes sense. But I do hope that this movie does well, and I absolutely enjoyed myself between the CGI. I thought the relationship between the robot girl and the regular man there, I thought that was great. I think that whole kind of dynamic, if done right, can really work in a movie. So if you guys are looking for a really good sci-fi film, definitely go check out The Creator. And there you go, guys. That is all 9 of my September new releases ranked. Coming in October, I will definitely have a lot to talk about, as there is a lot of movies and shows coming out in October that I will want to talk about. So stay tuned for the end of the month for that. And as always, guys, keep diving a little deeper into your favorite TV shows and movies. Until next time, guys, peace.